Okay, I'd like to call the July Town Board meeting to order with a salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thanks to everybody for coming out on this unbearable evening to join us. We've got a couple different things on the agenda tonight. We're going to get to our local law in a little bit. But first I'd like to welcome a guest, Dr. Carrie O'Hare, which is the Town Justice for Stuyvesant. She's here this evening to, I believe, present a plaque to the judges, for the current judges and past judges of Clermont. I'd like to welcome you and have you step up to the podium. And
thank you.
Thanks for coming this evening.
Hi. Hi. No, come on. Hi. You guys give me a look and you're in trouble. I am the Honorable Dr. Carrie A. O'Hare, and it is my honor to be here tonight. With the temperature being almost 100, I promise I won't take a lot of your time, but thank you so much for air conditioning here. I am the current president of the Columbia County Magistrates. I'm also, when they say the Honorable Dr. Carrie A. O'Hare, I also earned my doctorate in 2007? Yeah, 2007. And I did that by going around the county, around the state of New York, and interviewing 25 highly effective town and village judges, and then writing that up and getting that published on what makes a highly effective judge around the world in the ProQuest database. So I'm very proud of that. The reason I'm here tonight is that my dream is to do the history of the town and village courts in Columbia County to start with, because there are actually 1,872 town and village judges across the state of New York. They sit in 1,277 town and village courts. So we're a lot of people out here, all right? And that's a good thing. Second of all, in Columbia County, we have 21 town and village courts right now, with 37 sitting town and village judges. Now right now you have Judge Banks in here. Is there anyone else in here who's been a judge before? Or related to someone who's been a judge before?
No, they're all dead.
No, I was related to my father, William Banks. I was related to William Banks.
Yeah.
I'm his daughter, Diane.
All right.
Really?
Thank you for your dad's service. Well, I'll wait until you judge. You let me know when I can keep going. I know they're timing me now. Come on. Anyhow, so what I did was I started the history of the town and village courts. And what I did first was I went to the Board of Elections. Guess how many records they have? Yeah, you got it. Who said none? You said you got it. They're good people, right? But they don't keep that. They said it's not their job. I said, all right. Then I went to Holly Tanner's office for the county clerk. How many did they have?
None.
You see a pattern developing. Then I said, well, I got to find out all these names. So I started going to the different historians. And thankfully, there you go. Mary was excellent. She helped out here. But then I said, there's got to be another way also to take a look at how I can do it. So what I've done is spend many, many hours at the Chatham Library, because they have the back issues from 1899 forward of the Chatham Courier. It's all on microfilm. Forget about the digital search, guys.
Microfiche.
Yes. Over and over, many, many hours. And then I went to Columbia Green Community College, because they have from 1923 forward in the Register Star. Again, on microfiche, microfilm, whatever you want to call it, but yes, hours and hours. But from that, I've been able to ascertain for each of the towns, and right now I have completed 6 of them. Tonight will be my 7th town that I'm actually presenting to. And what I've done is, again, as I was going across the county here, and I would take pictures of the different towns with the judges and all current and past that are still alive, and their court clerks. Because these folks are still working 24/7, 365 days a year. All right, and it's important that we recognize their service. I did see plaques, and I don't know if you have one in here for the supervisors. Mr. Stanton? Yes, you do. Isn't that a beautiful plaque? Well, guess what? You got to make room, because and first, and Judge Banks, would you come up, please? And let me tell you, folks, that the first 3 plaques that I did, I went to the State Ethics Commission and got special permission. those of you who know about ethics and all those kind of things, to be able to hold a raffle. And only sitting town and village judges could in fact buy tickets for that raffle, okay? And that was great, and I donated a $200 beautiful wooden flag that in fact it is made by the vets. I get emotional on this stuff because I love my flag. And how it was made by vets up in Troy, only by vets, and they're beautiful. We raised $305. All right, we were able to buy the first 3 plaques. After that, it got more difficult because then you say, you're going to have another raffle? So I finally said no. Judge O'Hare, Carrie O'Hare, feels as strongly about it. I've paid for the entire rest of the 21 town and village courts because it means that much to me. It's the right thing to do, folks. We have to recognize those who wore the robe with honor. Bobby Moore, oh, close to my heart. So this plaque says, the People's Judges, Town Court of Clermont, presented to all current and past judges of Clermont by the Columbia County Magistrates Association to honor their sacrifices and dedication in serving the people of Clermont since 1789. 36 appointed justices of the peace between 1789 and 1829. 77 elected justices of the peace between 1830 and 1878. Thank you for your service. Dated July 2, 2018 by Honorable Dr. Carrie A. O'Hare, President CCMA. Now, the daughter, would you please come up also? Please. Because you know what, folks, what I have learned in my 17 years as a judge, it's not just the judges making the sacrifices. Isn't this great? I love it. It's the families too. Who do you think is supporting? Where's Carol? Is Carol Banks here? Where did she go? There you are. I know you're taking pictures, but you got to get up here too. Do you know how many sacrifices that you have done?
And this is Bill Banks' grandson.
Come on, up here. Come on. You got to do it. You can do it. Oh my goodness, watch this. We'll have the entire audience up here in just a moment.
It's all family.
I know, it's so beautiful. Thank you all for your service, for your family, and thank you, and certainly Judge Banks.
Thank you.
So much. Now, what this says, the last 12 names I have here, earliest, Honorable Claude Decker, 1926 to 1947. Honorable Fred J. Moore, 1940 to 1942. Honorable Royden Lasher, 1942 to 1956. Honorable Burton Coon. Now I put circa 1948 because when I went through my research, if I saw that they were elected, I definitely put them on here. But I don't know, I wasn't able to see the next 2 or 4 years to see when they were stopped being elected. So I put circa on there, but they definitely were in office. Honorable T. Chester Looney, circa 1956. Honorable Roger Elmore, 1946 to 1960. Honorable Guido Ziliani, 1960 to 1980. Honorable William E. Banks, 1968 to 1981. Notice who he's right next to, his brother. I know, and I know. You don't do that because you don't want to have to judge me. I'm going to be crying with you. So, Honorable Louise Platty, 1981 to 1991. Honorable Bernard Brost, 1981 to 1997. And then our 2 current sitting judges. Honorable Richard G. Christensen Jr., 1992 forward, and Honorable Ronald W. F. Banks, 1997. Folks, this is going to hang now to let you folks know and to say thank you. Thank you, folks. So I thank you all. Again, think about the folks that are taking that time to do that. And this judge right here, I know he's outstanding because I hear that from the troopers and the deputies and everyone else here. When that phone rings, this judge goes out. There's no doubt in my mind. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
Just like to say thank you very much for coming in and doing this. It's
Very special. We appreciate it. We'll be grateful.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I also want to give you here. See if I can find it here. Did I find it? Oh, I'll have to get it for you. I'm so sorry. But I have a list where you have those names there, the numbers of the justice of the peace, because everyone in what date was the first day? You guys were 1796, I think.
1789.
89, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to cheat your date years. But from that date forward until 1830, everyone was appointed as a justice of the peace. From 1830 forward, they were all elected. Now, I've been able to narrow it down from 1975 that we were then changed to town justice. Prior to that, it was justice of the peace. But I still haven't found the legislative piece that changed, but I'm working on that. I also found in 1973 that they stopped having judges be part of the town board. You guys probably
I
remember when they were, right? Yeah.
I've
now
seen
they-
that, yes.
Yeah,
I've seen
they don't
that.
do that anymore. But in 1973-4, they couldn't be. Well, I'm going to hand this to you. I'm going to get out of your way, and thank you so much for giving me time. It's my honor to do that. Next Monday, I'm going to be in Canaan, and I've got New Lebanon next after that, and so I'm going to finish, I'm halfway through. Yes, sir. I will. Doesn't make a difference, I know the
At
judge
least out here,
here.
there's
Okay. Okay, warn me ahead of time, all right. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Raymond, I'd like to present this to you, the town, and have it permanently displayed. Safekeeping.
We certainly will. We certainly appreciate your service and everybody else's on this planet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Okay.
Very much. Thank you. Okay, we will certainly make arrangements to hang that plaque after the meeting. Get that on the wall. And again, I appreciate everybody coming in for that, and everybody that served is serving. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to start the rest of our meeting. First thing on the agenda, I'm going to go out of order because I actually have, we have Ray Jakowski from Morse Associates that came in this evening to go through the local laws and the secret forms. So we're going to jump to that first thing. What I'd like to do is just, in continuance of the public hearing from last month that we did not close, we did leave it open for written comment in regards to local law number 3. We did receive 5 written comments, miscellaneous points, but mostly 5 urging us to reconsider the time in the evening and to reduce it from 11 p.m. to 10 p.m. and to reduce the noise levels, the decibel levels from what we presented from 50 in the evening to 75 during the day to 55 during the day and 45 in the evening. So there's basically 5 letters, mostly all saying most of the same thing. We're going to submit those to the record. We do have one that was sent in favor of it, encouraging us to keep what we were proposing. They will, like I said, it will be submitted to the record. I'm not going to read all these. And I will allow, at this point, any other further comment from anybody that hasn't been at the meeting. I don't want to go over the same meeting, same people, same topics, but if anybody hasn't had a chance to make a comment on this, I would allow that at this point. Otherwise, we're going to proceed with the local law. And first, I'll start with you, if you don't mind, step up to the podium.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Gentile, I live in Clermont, and I have 3 talking points, very, very short, so I'm not going to take a long time. But I think one of the points that has been brought up about keeping the decimal level higher until 11 o'clock is that the economic impact on the town of Clermont. And I was thinking about that, and I was saying, well, people who decide to have a wedding venue or any kind of event in Clermont, they're not going to not have it because of an hour's difference between 10 and 11 o'clock. So I don't think that's a valid point to say, oh, the economic impact on Clermont is really going to be changed and it's going to be a lower, Clermont's going to suffer because of it economically. I think that's a very poor argument for an hour's difference. People who want to have an event in the country, they're going to have it. Also, between 10 and 11, by that time, people have had a lot of food, a lot of drink, but they're even going to notice that the decibel level has changed and gone a little lower between 10 and 11 o'clock. Yeah, that's one point. Second point is, people along the Hudson River who have the large estates and have venues there for events, that's very different from people who live in a more residential area on a little town road, houses along the road. So sure, on Hudson River, you could have all the noise you want, and practically nobody will hear it. On County Route 6 or other little roads, people will hear it if it goes loud until 11 o'clock. Third point is that, just a moment, here. Right, well, it really coincides with my feeling that you can't justify, because there are a couple of estates along the Hudson River who would like to have the decimal level stay high until 11 o'clock. You can't justify have that compared to people who live in houses along a little town road. So, and also, whatever the board's decision is on this matter, I'd like to know if that's going to be made, the reason why they decide, is that going to be made a public record in the, on the Clermont website? The reason, whatever they decide, will that be made public? Because I would really like to know the reason behind any decision that's made.
We'll make a public comment this evening when we actually vote on this. So it'll be public.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your comment. You?
Just a procedural question.
Sure.
At the end of the last, when I watched the videotape of the last meeting, it wasn't clear to me the procedure for how this law would be supported tonight. Can you just clarify the procedure?
Once I close the public hearing, we'll go through the we'll go through the secret form. We're going to go through it with Mr. Jakowski, with the engineer, and then once we do that, we'll have to declare a negative declaration, and then we will go ahead to either vote on it or not vote on it at that point. That's how it proceeds. Okay.
I left something earlier that did it get received? Or?
Is that your email?
And I also
Your letter?
did copy.
Yes, we do have. I will just read the names of who did submit, so everybody knows that we received them. We received letters from Mrs. Wickham Boyle, Mr. Anthony Finta, Mrs. Sarah Backus. I know, I never know how to pronounce that right. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Michael Surapika and Miss Dawn Matthews. Dana Matthews. And we also received one in support, was Miss Hathaway. So we received 6 letters in total. And of course, yours from the last meeting, which we did enter and discussed and read in the meeting. Okay. With that being said, I'd just like to, before we go through this, I'd just like to say, we've spent a lot of time on this issue. We've talked about it a lot. We've contemplated levels, times, had a very open discussion on this several times. It's very difficult to balance the needs of an entire town. I know there's individuals that obviously feel that the levels we picked are too high, the time is too late, and and there's people that feel the opposite way. And really, it's really for us to compare, looking at other towns, what's already been previously approved in our town. We had planning and zoning approval on wedding venues, allowing them to go to 11 p.m. So by us changing it, it would override their approvals already, which would have to be redone. So this is stuff that we took into account when we were thinking of all this and going through this law. I think we've came to a reasonable compromise. Some of you obviously disagree, but just to point out, right now there's absolutely nothing on the books. There's nothing stopping anybody from playing music as loud as they want all day and night. So this is an improvement. We hope that it's going to solve issues and protect people's peace and quiet. If we find that it is going to be, if it's not doing what we intended to do and it is a problem going forward, we can and will revisit this, but we just want to make sure we get something on the books now to try to manage what's going on. So I think we've done that. I feel that we've come to a reasonable compromise with the local law, and I hope you guys will work with us on this, and let's see how it goes. I mean, I think this is going to help a lot compared to what we have now, which is nothing. So, that being said,
the one comment I wanted to make, and Ray's made it very well already, is that we do not have anything today And people are allowed to have as much noise as they want. And what we are trying to do is bring that down some to a reasonable level. And I think we've heard from our engineering firm that this is a reasonable level, as a starting point at least, and as Ray said, we can change it again in the future if we need to. But I think it's a good start. And it's helpful to the, to the town to have something put in place.
Thank you, Bob.
Can I ask a question?
Make it quick.
So is there, without a local ordinance, is there really nothing that could be done now? I mean, if somebody was, raging noise at 2 a.m., could not a local resident call the county and or the state? I mean, there's really nothing that
I mean,
could be
you
done?
could, if it's really obnoxious and you called the state police or, if you had law enforcement involved, it's possible they could enforce it and try to do something. Without a noise ordinance, they really don't have the teeth to back it. And that's why many towns have adopted noise ordinances and are adopting them now. So it makes it much clearer and much easier if you have a noise ordinance in place to enforce it. So I'm going to move on.
Yeah, I know you will move on, but I just want to say that I live very close to Town Hall and to the Academy, and there was a party like a week ago, I think it was rented or something, and I had to call the sheriff at 1:30 in the morning because of noise. It is that DBC thing, that subwoofer, that thing that amplified sound, that is horrible. And you might actually know that if you go to a big city, when little Hondas that go woof, woof, woof like that actually your heartbeat goes up, and it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant to get woken up. And you're moving with an ordinance, and I just say bluntly, and I said this in my letter nicely, at a high level, at 75 dBA. It is loud. That is very loud. And if someone comes to your house and starts playing at 1:30 or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, that sound, that level, it's huge, okay? So you're going ahead with a law that is already, to be challenged, you have to go back to it and tweak it. That's not highest standard. That is really the lowest of standards that you're actually embracing, and that is absolutely unfortunate. Unfortunate for the town, unfortunate for all the people who chose to live here for a reason, not to be, they escaped the city, they bought property here. And it comes, as Phyllis Heiko has said many times, if it comes to your neighborhood, you're gonna feel it. And you might probably change the law because it's in your neighborhood, because you do have that power to kind of make this almost unilateral kind of decision because you want to vote. But you don't listen to your people, okay? I don't know to whom you listen to.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah, ask me a question.
It's really actually his question. What did the sheriff do?
The sheriff probably came by, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, that's why I was
after a
asking.
while.
I don't know if he can do anything right now,
12:30.
that's why I'm asking.
To check it out. So are you responsible? Is the town responsible for renting it out and then giving them the list of things?
But did the noise go away?
Eventually at 2 o'clock or 2:30.
But now you won't
Okay.
have to call the sheriff at 1 o'clock anymore
Mhm.
because 11 o'clock it
Yeah,
cuts off.
right. But by 11 o'clock, I'm having, an issue, okay? It's loud. 75 dBA is supremely loud. You
And that's the
understand
daytime
that?
level. The nighttime is,
65
daytime
dBA
is
level
50.
at the property. I go and I tested it. It's at 91, okay, often when people come around here. It was even at 104, okay?
But
75.
that's what the law should be addressing, that's the
Yeah, but
intent.
75
We
is
have
too
nothing
high,
right now.
that's normal. 104 is very, very loud. So you're actually going
Just to-
against the zoning laws things. You can argue.
Just to interject there,
Go for the highest, not for the lowest.
the difference in perceived
In
sound
terms of-
between 75 and 104, you have to remember the decibel scale, it's not linear.
Oh, I
So-
understand, I know
so
know
that-
my math, okay? I
It-
do know my math.
It would perceptually
It's
be,
logarithmic, I do
it
understand
would be like
logarithms,
a
okay?
32nd of the
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
perceived
do
volume.
understand it. I'm very well educated. I know what logarithmic means.
okay, well, again, thank you for your comment. We certainly tried to take in everybody's opinions with this. You know, like I said, some people are going to disagree. Some people
Strongly.
are strongly going to disagree. But you, again,
Move to close the public hearing.
at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing.
Well, you need a second vote, right?
All right?
You got a motion.
Second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. What I'd like to do is ask Mr. Jakowski to please go through local law number 2, the secret form, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So the town attorney had prepared a short form environmental assessment form for both local law number 2 as well as local law number 3. And obviously this particular action, as seeker looks at the action itself, the proposed action is actually an adoption of a plan, local law ordinance, administrative rule or regulation. So that pertains to both, again, local law number 2 and local law number 3. That being said, collectively, so we don't get into an issue of segmentation, the town board should be reviewing the 2 local laws together to make sure that, again, you're looking at a potential combined effect. Again, local law number 2 is the adoption of the ordinance, and local law number 3 is incorporating that into your zone and that change. All right. So, as part of the seeker process, part 2, there are a series of 11 questions to evaluate and assess the potential adverse environmental impact. There are 2 categories that for you to consider. One would be a no or small potential impact. The second response would be a moderate to large potential impact. And again, what we're referring to is the action. And the action before the town board tonight is the adoption of the local laws. All right? So I'll read through the 11 questions. And again, if the town board can then provide me with a response, again, of the no or small, or to the moderate to large. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Response? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
It's certainly won't increase it. It'll maybe,
So small?
yeah.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
Yes.
Possible.
So you can consider that again to be small?
I would say small.
It's actually going to improve the quality.
Absolutely, yeah. And so you should be looking at both negative as well as positive effects. So yes, that would be considered a small impact. Will the proposed action have an impact on an environmental characteristic that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? There are no critical environmental areas here in the town of Clermont. There's actually only one in all of Columbia County. So obviously that response would be no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level or traffic of existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies and/or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Again, you consider
Small.
that to be no or small.
Small.
Okay. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? Will the proposed act result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Will proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
So again, seeing as all of the 11 questions on the part 2 of the impact assessment have been identified as no or small potential impact, the town board may consider adopting a resolution that, based on the information analysis above and any other supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any adverse environmental impact. So the board can take a motion.
I would propose that we pass that.
So moved.
See, can you speak up? I'm sorry.
I would propose we pass that as negative
Negative
declaration.
declaration.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So the negative declaration has been passed. So I'll just ask for the signature of the town supervisor, and that document remain on record with the town clerk. Now that seeker is done, now the board can move forward if they would like as far as a vote, as far as the resolution adopting local law number 3, or local law number 2, as well as local law number 3.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.
All right. As we were going through that, I noticed some indications from the audience that they didn't agree with some of the things we were saying. And I'd like for the record to point out again that our action is not increasing noise in town. It's lessening it. It may not be lessening it as much as some people would like, but it's improving the situation, not making it worse. I just want that for the record.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, at this point, we have local law number 2. I would entertain a motion to adopt the noise control regulations down at Clermont. We would do a roll call vote.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Roll call vote.
Okay, on that, on number 2?
Number 2.
Okay. Councilman Desmond?
Aye.
Councilman Hample?
I'm saying no because I didn't think we needed these laws in the first place.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you respond.
Nay, because I don't think that we need these laws in the first place.
And Councilman, excuse me, Councilman Gildersleeve?
Aye. And that's because this reduces the noise levels that are currently in the community.
I vote
And
yes.
Supervisor Sacks?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Thank you, Mary. At this point, I'll also entertain a motion to entertain the approval of the local law number 3, the roll call vote.
So,
Second?
Roll call? Okay, Councilman Desmond?
aye.
Councilman Hample?
Nay, for the same reasons.
Councilman Gildersleeve?
Aye, for the
And
same reason.
Supervisor Sacks?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion passed.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Ray, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to hang around if you don't want to for this. But again, thank you for coming
And
in.
again, if there's any assistance that we can provide, as you had requested, as far as the noise readings and so forth, we are available for that.
Yes, and that's something I did bring up for the interim until we have the equipment and the training to do this on our own. We are going to be using Morris Associates to come out and do readings if necessary, when necessary, until we get that.
So that means that if I have a party and it's beyond 75 dB on a Saturday night, that my neighbors will call the state trooper or the engineer to come out with his equipment.
At this point, we're
Or
going to have you
I'll use
call.
my app.
At this point, we're going to have you call the building inspector, and then he will get a hold of either
On
me
that
or as soon as you have a problem, you call the
On
building
that
inspector.
night, if my neighbor complains about me having a party, that he can call the code enforcement person to come out.
Correct.
And Sam Hawkins will come out here with the equipment.
He will relay the information until we're set up for him to do it. We will be contacting Ray immediately and having him help us out in this situation.
That, I just want to suggest that goes on the website immediately.
Of course, if there's any problems, you contact the building inspector.
Well, no,
That will be put out there when we do release the law, obviously, that to be contacted.
Just remember your law effective date is on the date filed with the state.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The effective date of the law is the date that it's filed with the state.
Which it may take a few days, yes. Okay. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Ray.
Have a good fourth. Safe
You too,
fourth.
thank you.
You too.
Okay, now we'll move on to the rest of our regular agenda, starting with the approval of town minutes. Do you have any corrections, suggestions, problems? Motion to approve the minutes?
So,
Second?
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, Mary, let's start with your clerk report, please.
Town clerk's report for June 2018. Dog licenses, $20. Building permits, $2,355. Certificates of occupancy, $110. Town clerk fees for community house donations, $100. For DEC fishing licenses, or license, I should say, $2.76. Solid waste fees, $3. So the total check for the general fund, $2,590.76. Paid to the Department of Agriculture and Markets for dog licenses, $8. Paid to DEC for the fishing license, $47.24. Paid to Columbia County Solid Waste, $37. So the total for June, $2,683.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Accept your report, thank you. Moving on to mail review. You have anything?
Don't have much, just the Elder Express from the Columbia County Office for the Aging. I looked through it briefly, it's got a lot of interesting things in there. You should pick one up on the back table if you feel so that you want to. It does have some interesting things in it. This is for July through September.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Correspondence from the web committee. Any suggestions, comments? And I know we're working on that. Web committee, no.
Well, I was here on Wednesday evening, and there was supposed to be a CBA meeting, and apparently there was some mistake, and I and some others were waiting out in the rain because we never got a message. And these people who are Clermontians went on the website, nothing personal, and nothing was on there to say that there be no meeting. So I just...
It is on there, Phyllis, I'm sorry to
Well,
argue with you,
I
but
was there, and there were two other people there who were complaining, so...
Well, Wednesday night,
relaying
there
it.
was a committee meeting here. I didn't see you, and it wasn't raining. I'm not sure.
The fourth Wednesday of the month,
That
we
was
had a park
last
committee
Wednesday.
meeting, and it was that terrible rain.
Weren't you here? It
No,
was
it was
raining.
Thursday.
It was terrible rain on Thursday night, and I had people here for court that were waiting
Thursday didn't
outside.
rain.
The zoning board had a joint meeting with the planning board
That was a month before, or sometime.
Well, it was
Well, that
June
was-
9th.
this past month.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you were there, and it was announced then
right.
that the zoning board would not have their meeting in June.
There were some people in the rain waiting there.
Pretty sure it was on the website.
It is. It is.
We'll take a look at that and see if we can keep up with that.
Thank you.
Because I put it on
I didn't see it.
after talking to Mary, I believe, or someone about it. I knew that it was canceled.
Yeah, we'll cancel.
Zoning Board of Appeals. Zoning Board of Appeals will not be holding a meeting in June 2018, and it's been on there since recent posts. Whoops. Let's see. It's been on there for if I got the right one here, 2 weeks and 4 days ago.
And actually, they
I'm
didn't
not sure if that's...
cancel their meeting, they moved their meeting to coincide with the planning board, so they did have a meeting in June, but there was no meeting on the fourth Wednesday for the zoning board.
So I don't know. It's there, it's been there for a couple of weeks anyway.
I mean, the good news is, as we're working on this website, that these things will flash here. Because right now it looks very calm and as if it's going to, I just look over here, happening. If you don't read the little thing.
What's it
might
gonna
not see
flash
it.
like
So it's going to
fireworks
say
or something, or what?
Red
I
or
don't
something,
know.
cancel. No, it'll be, I think maybe visually better. maybe
They're
that's
only
what
as
happens,
good
you know.
as the information that you get or are given to put on there.
Right, that's true.
When I get it, it goes on there.
So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be that way no matter what you have, what kind of
I might
website.
not look at it.
Someone has to
I
be
was going to
constantly.
cover the website updates that we're working on in my committee meeting, but I could touch on it here.
Okay, jump in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Part of it is a new look. The old website, I think, has looked the way it is since, I don't know, 2008 or something.
Yeah, it's been a
10 or something like that. It's been quite a while. And the new design that we've been working on is much, there's more contrast in it. So when you look at things, the different elements stand out a little bit more, which may help with some of these issues.
It's bigger.
So yeah, that work's been going on. We had our meeting this past Thursday, and I'm really impressed with everything that's been accomplished. We have a great group of members on the committee, and it's I think people are going to be pretty happy once we get to the point where we can roll that out.
Good.
I will say that I just recently looked at one of the town's websites. I was looking for some forms, and I never did find, and they have so many different, there's the town one, there's the park one, there's this, there's that. They don't mesh.
Right.
Where I looked at park thinking I would find the forms, it was not there. It was on the town website. So simple is better. I know this is simple, it's not flashy, but it's right there in front of you when you go on.
I think this new design will work pretty well for that. There's one place for documents, and we were discussing this past meeting about kind of consolidating so that we would have fewer categories, and I think, I mean, we'll present it and see how the board feels, but I think it would be a good match.
Sometimes less is better, is I guess
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we're moving that direction.
How many websites I went to and where it's in park, it should have been there, I thought. You know, that's what it was concerning, so, but anyway.
Just a question, obviously no pressure, not pushing for this, but any guesstimate on how long before we might be looking at rolling out the new updated one?
I think it might be
I'm talking a month, 6 months?
definitely less than 6 months. I think we're talking a month or two, depending on
Couple
summer
months.
vacations and
Yeah, it's a
things
tough
like
time
that.
this time of year, a couple months, yeah, great.
But we've done a lot of exploration, and I think we've kind of settled on where we want to go. Once we have that look, then there's just some work of copying everything over.
Excellent. Okay, good, thank you. And thanks to all the members on the committee, thank you. Okay, oh Bob, I gotta go back to you. You're up.
Just want to talk about the park committee a little bit. At our first meeting that I reported on at our last town board meeting is we had talked about doing a survey. And so we had another meeting this month, and we had a subcommittee that was putting together the survey. So they brought that in, and there was some discussion on it, a few suggested changes made, and Lindsay Shute, who's had made the changes, I believe, and Sarah was on that, and Phyllis also working on that. The discussion also indicated that we want to do the survey online this time, different than years ago when we mailed it out. Of course, we had a grant at that time, so we could mail letters with full postage and all that. We mailed it to all the residents in town, but it was also brought up that some people may not be aware of it, so what we'd like to do is send out a postcard to all the households in town. And so we did get some estimates of what that would cost if we had it done at Pro Printers, or Mary came up with an estimate that she would do some of the work, and that comes in a little cheaper. And if we buy stamped postcards from the United States Postal Service, and then ink cartridges to print the cards, and the address labels, Mary would print the address labels also, and the subcommittee and committee would put the labels on the cards and send them out. If we went to Pro Printers to do the work, it'd be a little over $600. If we do it in-house, it'll be less than $600. The estimate is $565. And
So in other words, you're counting for all of us to be there and to lick envelopes? Yes.
No,
Oh, yes, yes.
no envelope licking, it's merely putting stickers.
And if we used unstamped postcards and bought postage and put stamps on, it would actually cost us more. In fact, that's the highest estimate. So my recommendation is that that when we get to new business, that the board approve a budget of $600 to send out postcards, not to exceed $600.
615 is if you have pro printers do it, because I mean, for $50.
We still have to sit there and put it
Oh, you still have to do it?
postage stamps.
Okay, all right. That was kind of my question. If you could alleviate all that for $50, it's worth it, but, all right, okay. Okay.
So we'll do that under new
And
business.
Anthony has a good question about,
When you say that this would be going to households, does that include everybody who's a taxpayer and owns a home?
Go ahead. Mary is merging a couple different lists, and she'll explain
I
that.
have the voter registration list from the county, and I have the, what's called the Roll 1 from County Real Property, which is every residential property owner. And what I've done is I have gone through, merged those. I've eliminated the banks that own properties, or something that it's obvious it's going to,
Duplicates.
say, a lawyer's office, things like that. I've cleaned those up. I've removed duplicate family names. So if there's two stats at the same residence, it will simply go to stats household, and reduced it down from over 1,400 to just over 800 addresses.
So anybody who has a second home up here as a
Is gonna
taxpayer
receive-
will be included and captured in your list.
Yeah, and also anybody that rents and is a
And
voter.
rent.
Now, if they rent and they're not registered as a voter, they won't get it.
They won't, that won't show,
Yeah,
but.
but if they're renters and they
they're
vote,
renters,
they'll get it. If they're owners, out-of-town owners,
they'll
they will get it.
I'm just not, I did not put in the addresses that were out of the United States. I drew the line.
Thank you.
I drew the line.
Thank you. And I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to compliment Bob, that I think the group, really, there's a nice consensus amongst everybody that, you know, they're interested in the park and making it beautiful. And everybody agreed on the survey very quickly. There were one or two suggestions, and the whole meeting took an hour. So I think we really moved very, very quickly. And if it wasn't for the rain, but we are going to meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock
Yeah, I was gonna
because
get
we
to
happen to
that.
have we're very lucky to have an expert, Amy, who's a real life horticulturist, and she's a board staff person, and she wants to walk us from the baseball field because she has a different view of the way it's going to look. So I think everybody is well organized, and everybody who works, we meet at the same time, and we get stuff done. So Bob, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, we were supposed to have had that meeting, you know, the walking meeting on
Last Wednesday.
Wednesday. It was going to be moved now to this Wednesday, but that's 4th of July, so we moved it back a day to Tuesday, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Anybody that wants to come along. I did walk it myself, by the way. It really wasn't raining that much. The ground was a little wet. My shoes got a little wet, but it wasn't that bad because there's actually trails that have been mowed, and the highway department is mowing, and I talked to Jimmy and made one suggestion of one additional mowing. I don't know if that'll be done by tomorrow night or not, but eventually it will.
Doesn't matter. I
I'll
have
print
a
that out.
truck, and whoever wants to, we can do
Yeah.
it. We can walk, we can ride.
No, it's a nice walk, actually. You walk down through there, and yeah, there's a lot of weeds on the sides, but there's also daisies and black-eyed or brown-eyed Susans, the purple clover, Queen Anne lace. In fact, as I went through, I picked a little bouquet and brought it to my wife at the Thompson house. And it's kind of a pleasant walk, and we'll make it even more pleasant as we add additional vegetation and things, but it's not bad. And I think people, you know, saying for the camera, that people should think about if they want to do some walking on walking trails. You know, the walking trails aren't marked out or anything, but they're mowed, and you can walk around, and it's not a bad walk.
I have a couple questions on the survey. And I don't know that you necessarily have answers to them at this point for one of them. The first was, in that list of questions, is there a free-form field where people could add their own suggestions if it's not something that's on the survey?
There is.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the second, more of a technical concern, but online surveys are notoriously easy to gain. So I don't know if you pushed any consideration in how to prevent people from saying, I really want this, and doing 10,000 votes. And depending on what your back end is, they might already have that handled.
The Survey Monkey is able to identify.
You require like an email address or
Yeah.
something rather than allowing anonymous. Okay.
Yeah, it's used in other places.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
And also, it'll be mentioned on the postcard that will be mailed, it's an online survey, but there will be a hard copy here in the town hall for people that don't have online access.
Okay, thanks.
Right. And we'll see.
And it's also that on there, we're very considerate, because some people don't always like to add their name to this. So it's like maybe Evan will, do 5, and, so you have to go along with what a survey is, okay? But I think we worked very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
And we did put in a line if you would like to volunteer your professional services.
Very nice. Very nice.
Of various kinds.
Of various kinds.
Yes, various kinds. We covered the world and occupations. So if you want to volunteer your time, but Mary will be doing most of the envelopes.
All right, well, thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. Thanks to the committee for your work on that. Appreciate it. All right. Anything
Yeah,
else?
I'd like to specifically thank, I think Sarah and Phyllis and Lindsay and Mary were working on the survey. Was anybody else?
It was all them.
What?
It was all them.
Well, you've done quite a bit of work too, in terms of working with Lindsay to get the estimates and that, so thank you to those committee members.
And I think, Mr. Finter left, his wife.
Alan Earl.
Right behind you.
Earl. Oh, I'm so glad I mentioned her name. Oh, my God.
Okay, excellent. All right, so moving on to old business. First thing in old business is insurance claim from hail damage. We brought this up briefly last month. Before I go any further on this, I would like to take an executive session to discuss contract negotiations. We need to discuss it real quick, take about 5 minutes. Get a motion to executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Put the air back on for a few minutes. Yeah, we need to just cool it off a little bit. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to come out of the executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. I cannot speak this evening. I don't know what's going on. Okay, under old business, insurance claim.
Can we go back to committee reports from that?
No.
No?
Go ahead, what do you got?
The other thing we did discuss at the meeting was a veterans monument that we've talked about on the board here for quite a while. I did pass out a proposed wording to put on the monument. There's 2 possibilities. I mean, you could put up monuments like you have in Red Hook where they've got the names of all the different wars, but that's very expensive. You need multiple monuments and well, any writing you put it takes a lot of money because they do that by the letter.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was proposing was just a generic monument that basically says, the town of Clermont erected and dedicated this monument to remember and honor the sacrifices of our veterans. All gave some gave all. Thank you for your service. And put that up on the top of the...
Didn't Louise, we should mention that Louise Kalin was on this committee too, and her husband is a very famous poet. And he took what you wrote, she brought it home to him.
Yeah.
And he was gonna maybe
He's been
sharpen this
puzzling.
up.
He's gonna what?
He's been puzzling. He's thinking.
Right.
He's in his creative zone.
Okay.
He's in the Library of Congress, and we thought, that's an expert, give him the
Yeah,
job.
he's a national poet laureate.
Okay. Give him a copy, Mary, that's got the spelling errors corrected.
I did. It's okay.
And also, I don't think it was as clear on the one I gave that I did make the town of Clermont and our veterans larger print, is what I was suggesting. It's clearer on this one.
Got
Okay,
it.
and again, that's something you'll work out in committee?
Yep.
Yeah, bring it back, sure.
Yeah, I just want the board to be aware also of what was being proposed. And we've talked about that on the board here in the past.
Yep.
I think it might be good to we figure out the placement of, put a flagpole up there and maybe put the American flag and the POW flag that you see on a lot of flagpoles next to it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, all right. No, that's all right. Back to the insurance claim. As we discussed a little bit last month, from that storm that went through, the town property did receive some significant damage after inspection to the community house in general. What I did is after I put the insurance company on notice, I did come over with my lift and went up on the roof and took a good look at our roof on that building because it is cedar shakes. And it did, like I said, take some significant damage on the west side. So I did call the insurance company, told them to get a hold of the adjuster, come on out and take a look. They did take a look. They agreed that the back side, the west side, suffered enough damage where they would warrant replacement. They also, while I had them here, I showed them everything else that I found, which was the whole back side of the west side of the building from the hail damage hitting it. It's chipped off a lot of the paint, so they're going to put in a claim for the painting in the back of the building, also the painting of the back of this building, and some other work of the dome on the building over here, the cupola, the gutter, and a couple other miscellaneous things. So they did submit this into the insurance company. We're just waiting to hear. I don't think there's going to be any issues. I did get an estimate on it, but I'm trying to get at least 2 or 3 estimates so we have some numbers to look at this. But it will look like we will be replacing at least the back side. The front side did not take enough damage where it was an issue, so and I did agree as well. But we will be coming back probably next month with some more numbers and possibly a motion to move on some of that repair work. So just to keep everybody updated. The park entrance, I don't know if anybody noticed, I know Bob's noticed. The entrance to the new park over here. We had a slight issue with, when we did the project, DOT required us to do berms out by the entrance to the mouth of the entrance to the park. It was not done as of last month. The contractor that did all the work on the remediation had a $5,000 bond being held by DOT until it was completed. So he contacted me, says, please, can you guys take care of this? I'd really like to get my deposit back, blah, blah, blah. So I says, yeah, not a problem. I asked Jimmy in the highway department to put some dirt over there, and they did. They put some topsoil out front. I had my guys go out there and just really quickly level it out, make it look like a little something, and plant some lilies in it, which we were supposed to, we were looking at a grass, or ornamental grass or decorative grass to put in it. But what I want to do is just get something in there quick that takes full sun, that wasn't going to die off, that can be taken out. I wanted to get the approval for DEC. I know the committee's working on, looking at the whole property, but I just wanted that to be approved for him to get his money back. And again, we can take them out, plant whatever we want, and put the grass in at a later date once the committee makes a decision on how to, proceed with the park. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that's why it is what it is and what it looks like. But at least it's enough to get him his deposit
We will
back.
report you to the park committee.
Hey, there's 12 daylilies you can take out and plant somewhere.
We will report you to the group.
Okay,
And that
all
is
right.
tomorrow night.
Use them somewhere at least, anyway. So, yeah, so that's why that was done that way, and that's good for now, I guess. The bridge, I do want to mention Binghamsville Bridge. It's been brought up a couple times now, recently in the county again. Not in a good way, not to open it up, which we would like to see happen. But I've been arguing and pushing for several months that something needs to be done with the bridge, obviously, because it's a hazard. It was closed, obviously, we talked about years ago, red flag because of the condition of it. The structural integrity of the bridge has been deteriorating pretty bad. I mean, the support beams are very bad. You can put your fingers through them. That's why DOT closed the bridge. So we had a barrier put up on both sides so no vehicles could go across. It was very open to public access, bicycles, I think even four-wheelers or golf carts could fit through it, I don't know. But it was not close to my liking. So what I pushed, and I've been pushing for months, and they finally did it, they barricaded the entrance with steel fencing and made it so basically it's very difficult to get on the bridge. I think you can still climb around the edges and get on it, but it's not openly accessible to any kind of vehicles or people as well as it was. There's been some pushback by a few residents on the road, very upset that they like to walk across there and they like to bicycle across it.
Yeah, but they can also fall.
Well, that's the argument. To me, we put posted signs up. This is all the county. The county put posted signs up on my request. You know, to me, it's a tremendous liability issue to have a condemned bridge easily accessible for people to walk on, ride on, whatever it is. So I've made this argument. It's being challenged in the county because certain residents would like it.
What bridge it was?
Bingham's Mill Bridge.
Bingham's Mill, it's up there.
Off of County Road 8. So it's being, it's being looked at. It's under discussion still. My feeling is it's a complete hazard to anybody that goes on this bridge because the way this bridge was done, and I hope people see this, because the way this bridge was built in the past, there's steel girders that are rotted out. There's a metal corrugated pan that's put over the steel girders that is rotted out. And then blacktop is the actual road surface. So even the county engineer in our last meeting said, that could hold foot traffic for 10 years, 20 years, but there's nothing saying somebody doesn't walk across it tomorrow and the blacktop lets loose and you fall right
And
through
we'd be
it.
sued.
The county would be sued. So my feeling is, unless the county is going to investigate this and put some money into it to make it secure and safe for public access, we need to keep it barricaded and closed to the best of our ability and or take it down if we're not going to fix it, because eventually it's going to fall down. And that's going to be my argument, and the Livingston supervisor feels he's on the same page. What we'd like to do is push for it to be reopened for traffic. I know that's a discussion that may take a lot more argument, but I don't think that will happen, but I certainly will keep pushing for it to stay closed until it's taken down or the county puts some money into it and opened it up as a foot traffic bridge. That's really the only two options in my eyes.
Yeah, it's actually a health and safety issue that it should be reopened.
Well, there's a lot of arguments for that.
Both fire departments in Livingston and Clermont would like it open. The Highway Safety Board for the county would like it open. The rescue squad would like it open. And, every time you close a bridge, you take away an option for when there's a problem on the main road and you need to detour. And that's enough said.
That will be, an argument that will come up again, because that would be one of the options, is to open it for traffic, and to foot traffic, both. But, so just to keep everybody, if you see anything or read anything, I don't know if it's going to be in the paper, but that's what's going on, where we are with that at this point. Other than that, the library box. Do we have an update on that? Mary, I know we were going to talk about, we talked about it last month.
I knew I forgot some.
No.
I have the plans. I will bring them, I will drop them off tomorrow evening. I sketched out a nice box to be about yay high. And if somebody really wants to get creative, it could be painted up to look like the academy, or I'm sorry, the community house.
Nice.
On the outside, and 2 doors to open up and get into the box. And I believe I said it was $200 that the library board of directors has said they will reimburse us for constructing it.
Excellent. So they are totally on board with this then.
Yes,
That's
they
great.
are.
Excellent. Very nice. So yeah, if you want to drop those off, we'll take a look at them. I'm sure we'll take, see if I'll hit Jimmy up for that if he can do it. If not, I'll help him out and we'll get it taken care of. Excellent. And we are going to place that, I believe, we're going to put it out in front here, which would be the best place for it. Absolutely. Good. All right. All right, I'm going to move on to new business. We've already taken care of some of this, whether the engineer was here, local law, negative deck, adoption of local law. The only other thing I want to do is, as of last year, when we had this problem with our fuel oil, if many of you may remember, or if we weren't aware of it, we did run out, the company we were using off of the county bid allowed us to run out of fuel multiple times in the buildings, and that's totally unacceptable when you're on automatic delivery. And we had a very difficult time.
Which company was it, may I ask?
Costco. We had a very difficult time getting him here, even after we told him we ran out. 3 or 4 days later, they still weren't here. So Jimmy kept us going by putting cans in. So at that point, we switched over to Valley Oil, which we used in the past. So this year, I didn't even look at the county bid yet, but what I want to do, we always have the option to use the county bid if we're comfortable with the awarded bid. But what I'd like to do is also put out just a public notice that we are accepting bids for fuel oil and, natural gas, not natural gas, propane, just so we can put it out there and we can look at the bids if it's beneficial to us, or if it's very close and we'll get a better service. I think we should consider that moving forward, but we do need to make it a public offering so we cover all our bases. So I'd just like a motion to that.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Other than that, I don't have a lot else to go over. Supervisor's report.
Still in new business.
New business.
Move that we budget $600, not to exceed $600 to send out postcards for the survey.
And you discussed an extra $50, Ray? No. Did you?
No, I was thinking if you were going to use that other company, it would be a little bit more, but if that covers it, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, if you think that ought to do it. Okay, so you make a motion, we approve up to $600 in expense for
So moved.
postage.
Yeah.
Second?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And I guess that can come out of the park.
We'll take other parks. Yep, we have the park fund, yep. Absolutely. Okay. Supervisor report, again, I just went over the bridge, there's one of the issues. Recycling, I'd just like to touch base on that real quick, because this is something that will be affecting everybody. The cost of recycling is just going through the roof, unfortunately. The county just received notice last year, I think, rough numbers, don't hold me to it, rough numbers, we spent $125,000 to $150,000 in the county to pay for recycling. This year, we found out it's going to be closer to $250,000. It's a significant increase due to, I believe that the details was China was shutting down or not accepting the recyclables, and now we have to do something else somewhere else. But what it results in is extra money to the taxpayers. This is something that I brought up in committee, and I feel very strongly about, because the county transfer stations get used by some, but there's a lot of people that don't use the county transfer stations. I, for one, do not. I pay county waste to pick my stuff up in my house. A lot of people do. So you're paying for your garbage pickup at your house. You're also paying in your county tax a transfer tax. Now, this is going up, and my argument is I think we need to really look at some way to make this a user fee, to maybe have people buy permits or something that use the recycling, because there's a lot of people that don't, to help offset, maybe not the whole thing, but to help offset the cost. And it's an idea that we're actually kicking around and we're going to look at, because just to pass this down to the taxpayers, it's just, it's a lot. I mean, it's just, you can't keep doing this. It can't keep going up.
It used to be that recyclables.
Used to be
were
free.
money.
Well, yeah,
No, I
used
mean,
to. We used to make money off of it. In some cases, steel you can, but the plastics, the cardboards, this stuff, the newspapers, it's costing more and more and more to get rid of, and we just
Why?
are paying more because of who's taking it, what they have to do to separate it, and it's going to cost the
Is
companies
that
going
because they're
up.
mingled now? I mean, they
It's
used to
all
have to separate.
commingled. It's all commingled now. One stream they call
If
it.
we went to separating, would that make a difference?
All these plants that are doing this are just all. They have the separator machine that does everything. It's all commingled now. That's not the reason. It's just the market for it is what they're saying. So, and everybody feels good. Recycling's great. I mean, it is. Everybody wants to help the environment, but at what point do we stop passing this cost down to the taxpayers? And I feel that this is the point, because, I mean, you're almost doubling the cost, and this is just for the recyclables. This has nothing to do with the rest of the transfer station. So if we can make it some kind of user fee, like I said, everybody that uses recyclables pays $25 a year, $50 a year or something, at least that, when you get 1,000 people do that, at least you're paying for something, I mean. So we're actually looking at that to see if we can do something, but they said for at least the next year and a half, they're projecting that these numbers are going to be
Do you
skyrocketing.
think that will deter people from recycling and just throwing recyclable items into the trash bags that go?
That was exactly one of the comments that was brought up, and that's why we're thinking about a nominal, a very small fee, at least to get some kind of reimbursement. But the fact of the matter is, you throw it in your regular trash, you still have to pay to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still paying one way or the other, and if, anybody that's recycling is really usually committed to trying to keep things recyclable and helping the environment. I don't think it would be a big difference. I really don't.
The thing I'd like to bring up, that when they raise the prices for the bags that you pay for, but if you raise that too high, people are gonna leave it on the side of the road. Okay?
You run that risk with everything,
And
yes.
if you make it too low, then it's gonna cost the taxpayers a lot of money. So you gotta be, and I think the same thing is with the recyclables. If you make it cost too high, again, people are gonna start throwing stuff on the side of the road again.
No, I agree.
So be careful of that.
I agree. We just started this conversation. Again, I don't know if it'll come to light, but we'll see what happens, because, you can't just keep passing all this to the taxpayers, I mean.
How does the 5-cent bottle return fit into that? I mean, clearly it's a recycle thing, but, I mean, you're paying 5 cents for, a 20-cent piece of plastic, or probably far less than that. It's probably 20% of a penny, really. But, I mean, obviously all that recycle is going back somewhere, and that may be costly as well. Is there possibly a state mandate that could stop doing this 5-cent return? I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest with you. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't know the answer to that. That's way above the county's
Recyclables are becoming more
authority.
expensive, but then that's a lot of people,
Chris, in Germantown, what they had was, with the 5 cents business, there was a container there for the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts.
So then it went to this particular group.
I understand there's still a 5-cent
Yeah.
return
But
when you
the
bring it
companies
back,
that
but how does
take
that
this,
affect
They
your
don't get anything
recyclables?
back from the companies.
Right.
They just take it away and do what they have to do with it.
No, my question was more in line with recyclables becoming expensive. I mean, maybe it would be a reason to enforce it more. I don't know. I don't know what the...
Well, I'll certainly keep you updated on the discussions. We're going to be having several discussions on this to see, if there's any way to try to offset this cost somewhat to the taxpayers.
Right.
But as of right now, we're just going ahead as business as usual, but we're just looking for options because, it is a tremendous increase.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't bother with the 5 cent, they just throw them in the recycle.
Mhm.
I mean, is that good or bad? I mean, it's all going back to recycle, so I don't know if one is better than the other. I don't know what it's up.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I don't know the effect of it.
No, I can't comment. I do not know the answer to that, but I'll keep you up to date with the discussions we continue to have on this.
Yeah. And I know recyclables have far more than, bottle returns. There's, cans, a lot of cardboard. There's far more than the 5 cent return, but I didn't know if that played a part in those considerations.
Okay. Other than that, I don't think I have too much others. Other than the budget's going to be starting up here shortly in the county. The budget process starts a little earlier for us up there, but we will be starting to look at this budget for the upcoming year. I was just informed that it looks like we had about $1.7 million surplus last year, which kind of goes to my point to why we continue to raise taxes every year. And we'll be having that argument again this year when they decide to release the budget information. But, as we continue to year after year, surplus millions of dollars just to put in the bank, I do not see how you can continue to raise taxes to taxpayers. And I've fought this argument for I don't know how many years, and they continue to get away with it and do it. and I just will continue to fight it until somebody else. Actually, I have to say, I have a couple of the supervisors that are starting to ask more questions. They're saying, hey, you're absolutely right, I agree with you, we need to change this in the budget instead of just approving everything, and then, so maybe this year will be a little different. I'm kind of not very hopeful, but I'll continue to fight and
Well, maybe,
see what happens.
you know, so I can understand it better at the next board meeting. If we could just get a piece of paper on that, so that maybe we could pass it around to other people so they could understand what you're talking about, because I'm not really familiar with that.
Okay.
And also, because that would be very helpful, we could be very supportive and write letters to you and say, here, to the committee. And I have a little question.
Public comment will be in 2
Okay.
minutes. Thank you. All right, other than that, I think that's about it. Let's pay the bills and then we'll take some public comment.
Pay general abstract number 7A, vouchers number 177 through 198 in the amount of $8,924.61.
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move to pay general abstract number 7, vouchers 174 through 176, in a total of $167.80.
Second?
That's the prepaid.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You get the big one.
I make a motion, we pay highway abstract number 7, vouchers 63 through 73, in the amount of $92,600.09.
For what?
We'll tell you in a minute. Give me a second? Second? All in favor?
For what is it?
Opposed? Carried. Just to let everybody know, that's usually, I'm normally a large bill, we blacktopped.
83,000 of that is for blacktop.
$83,000 we blacktop Pleasant Vale Road, a portion of it, not even the whole road.
Actually, it was a mile of blacktop for $83,000.
Pleasantville Road, I'll be checking that. Just to make sure.
It's, it's done. They had the road blocked for a while, even on Commons Road, at the end of Commons Road as well, as they came across it.
Unfortunately, blacktop is not getting cheaper. They raised the prices last month by $2 or $3 a ton, and then another $2 or $3 a ton this month. So it's continuing to go up.
They should use recyclables to make blacktop.
Possibly, possibly.
The good news for local taxpayers, I mean, it's still tax money, but the state does reimburse us for a good chunk of that.
Half of it, usually half of it.
Also, something that you could keep sort of a little bit of track of is when petroleum prices go up, that affects blacktop.
Yeah.
So we all see the gas prices also.
So in other words, we should really blacktop in the middle of the winter when it snows.
If the plants were open, yes, that would be nice, but they're only open during
And
the
I think
summer.
you're related to the highway superintendent, so why don't you tell him?
I'll tell them. I'll tell them to get out there in the wintertime, sure. Good luck with that. All right, let's move on to
Just
public.
one more
Well, sure.
We're talking about blacktop.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything further about the Route 9 up by our Livingston border, the bridge? Are they going to do something with that?
They are. I do not know when, but yes, they
I
are.
remember last November they couldn't do it because we were in the month of November.
Yes, it is going, I think it is on the schedule. I know it's been mentioned and talked about. I don't know when.
Just hope it doesn't come around to November again.
Yeah, right.
Do you know
I think Larry's on top of that for us.
Do you know what detour route they're going to?
Yeah, Binghamton Little Bridge.
They can't. That's why I'm asking.
Obviously,
gonna close?
it's going to have to go around Buckbeat.
Or will they do half and then the other half?
I don't know.
They'll probably do Buckwheat.
I don't know the
In other words, I'm not
statistics.
going to go to Hudson on Route 9.
No, I wouldn't.
Well,
It'll be for a short period. I don't think, they're not
you
redoing the
can
bridge.
go around Buckwheat. It's not that much of a detour, but
Yeah.
if it comes to that, or like Mary said, if they do one lane at a time.
Yeah.
It's actually not the bridge, it's the blacktop. So they're going to tear it up on each
Resurface it.
side of
You
the.
just go right.
Yeah. Try
Trucks,
your one.
trucks can't use.
They may do
Buckwheat
one half at a time. They may.
They're gonna have to go all the way around.
They may.
Last year.
Maybe down to, Well, they couldn't use my road either, so I guess, to be fair.
All right, public comment. Let's open up for public comment. Those of you, please step up so we can get you. Come on, we can hear better.
Okay.
If it helps, the air conditioner comes out that door.
Yeah. there you go.
The schoolhouse is rented out for events, and I don't live near the schoolhouse, but I know many people who live around the schoolhouse. So when that schoolhouse is rented out, whoever rents it out to them must make them aware of the new sound noise ordinances, that they cannot have booming things coming out to annoy the neighborhood. That even though that's an event, it goes all the way over here and goes all the way up Route 6.
Yep.
Okay? And I'm gonna warn you again, if I don't hear it, but if it happens to my friends, eventually it's gonna happen to me. Just like, remember the dog problem you have with the barking dog? Same thing. Can happen to me, and I don't appreciate it. So I want whoever rents it out to be very well aware of, you cannot have disco music booming
They will be handed a noise ordinance policy when they rent the building.
immediately, even before.
Yep, absolutely. They are no different than anybody else, and they will have to abide by, yes. Just, you want to step up, please?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Will the new ordinance, as it is approved tonight, be on the website so that people have access to that? Or
We
included in the
can,
minutes?
we can load it, sure, we can load it up to the website, right? We can put that on.
Maybe attach it to the minutes and make it clear to everybody.
You know, it might be better off on its own where it's more accessible, rather than the minutes, you have to scroll through the minutes. Sure.
But either way, it gets,
We don't have all those laws on the website, so we don't really have a category for it yet.
Can we just put up noise ordinance policy or
We
law,
could.
local law, and just put it under its own? I mean, that's something that's going to affect
So for the
everybody.
time being,
It's doable, it's just kind of a question of we have other laws that affect everybody that aren't posted.
And we can also put up signs in the schoolhouse too. But I think you really have to make people aware of the fact that they can't have boom boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that rents it will get a copy of the ordinance, absolutely.
it should be clear, however it is you put it on the website, it should be clear it's a new ordinance, we're bringing it to people's attention, people's review, and it affects everybody in town. And then secondly, make sure they understand the follow-up process to make a complaint and what that looks like, just to clarify the policy and then how to hold people responsible to that policy,
Yeah,
should that happen.
and how to register a complaint.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll make sure we get something on there for that. We'll talk about what we can put on
I
there.
think we did also discuss like the local garbage disposal, like county waste and things, depending on the hours that they come, they may need a notification when that law goes into place.
Yeah. Yep.
And if they go beyond county waste.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, absolutely, because we set that at 6 a.m. as the minimum earliest time, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments? That's it?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you for coming. You got to put some air on.